This is Judge Joe Brown, and you're watching We All Be News TV, the
News-Free Dixie.
News-Free Dixie for the 21st century.
I also was reading online, like almost 20 years ago, that it was like people were talking about that Ronald Reagan allegedly raped an actress when he was the president of the Screen Actors Guild. Like he raped her on his couch.
Well,
that what they said.
Yeah, well, that was so common. I remember my headquarters were over at what's now KTLA Channel 5 on Sunset near Van Ness, right a block west of the 101 freeway. And it used to be Warner Brothers Studios back in the 20s and early 30s. So where I had my headquarters, they called the Plantation Mansion because it looked like it. And when they decided to renovate it, they took the sheetrock off. So we were surprised to find these stairs down to underground passages with old yellow paper taped to the walls with direction to, you know, Tedabera's bungalow and this star's bungalow and that star's bungalow, where Cecil B. DeMille, the famous old-time director, would go over there and do the casting couch thing secretly, and nobody could see him. And the tunnels went up, and they were blocked off now by coverings where they had just asphalted over there. Gene Harlow, you know, that kind of thing. He'd go over there and pay visits and get the nookie. Casting couch was a reality, but now the casting couch is LGBT stuff. I know a woman, a beautiful woman, but she's really stone cold hard now. She had a white husband who was an executive producer who rose up in Hollywood, and she talks about all of the penis that she sucked and fellatio and all of the executives she screwed to get her husband ahead. She never wants to see a penis again, so she's a full-fledged, full-time lesbian. And I can remember sitting at a table at a party when the show first started back in 98, 99, somebody's birthday party at a big club, and I was sitting at this table with all of these beautiful soap opera and movie stars, and I was grinning. I was a bachelor, and they were grinning at me, and I was having a good time. And this very beautiful woman bounced up to the stage and said to another woman that was sitting one over from me that I had my eye on, she said, oh, Susan, dear, I'm so horny. Can I come over Tuesday and have you eat me out? God, I just need an orgasm so badly. I said, oh, man. And one of the girls grinned at me and said, oh, we forgot to tell you, we like the taste of, you know, basically nookie. She didn't use that word, but she used the P word. She said, we like to taste the nookie. We didn't tell you, but we like you. You're cool. I said, oh, man, wow.
That's
so
amazing,
that was the stock in trade. And see, a lot of what's going on when you look at some of the Hollywood stars is, I hate to see a woman abused, but the bottom line is you hear this thing, I had my dream, I always wanted to do this. Well, develop talent so you can get there on your talent. You don't have to use sex to skip the talent part. Or I remember one of them just recently was complaining about it was unfair how she was abused. She had always wanted to play this woman, play this role, and she had her heart set on it. And the woman was a kind of a crazy woman. And historically, she was a lesbian, even though she was married. So she got all worked up when the director insisted that she do this nude love scene with another woman to fulfill the lesbian part of the real story.
Selma Hayek or Hake with Frida Kahlo. You talking about the Frida Kahlo movie?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, you could object. They could have put a body double in there. You could say, no, I'm not going to do that movie. A lot of actors have said, I just don't do those kind of things, and that's it. But nobody made you. Well, I always had my heart set, well, too bad. Hollywood is fantasy. Go get a job in the real world.
Right.
You know, but I am against anything that's forcible. You know, you don't have to creep out and give everybody a manhood a bad name. That's wrong. But some of this stuff, remember, the contributor to Teen Vogue, it's okay to make a false accusation and ruin a man if it helps out the feminist cause. Look at Allred and Bloom and all of the women that they've induced to come forward 30 years after they did something and didn't complain about it then. All of a sudden they get talked in on the promise of money. Now they are offended. And they keep going back. You know, like if the guy was doing you wrong, why do you go back 3 or 4 times? And I think as a man, I say, look, let's get real. I like to be real. I don't care whether I step on somebody's toes or not. Reality is reality. I'm a grown man. I'm a mature man. I'm not unattractive. I have some style. I had money. And when I was a bachelor, yeah, I tried to get over. But I got refused more than I got accepted. So I'm looking at all these super fine stars. How is it that these ugly, fat, out of shape guys with ugly faces get the nookie and, you know, so easily? And that is not my real world experience. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I said, okay, you know, let's be real. There's a degree in here from some serious stuff, which is wrong, way wrong, no excuse for it. Somebody should actually be punished. And over here on the other side, it's not that anybody made you do it. You're just remorseful. I remember when they had that thing on Cosby and they had those women on the magazine cover, all of those women, and I looked at some of them. I say, I recognize this one, this one, this one, this one. I said, I remember sometimes when I come back to L.A. in the 70s, taking a little vacation time, and I went to some of these Hollywood parties, and the woman would walk in with a see-through blouse on with a jacket. She'd take the jacket off. She didn't have a bra on. There were no pockets. You'd see her nipples, everything else, not just the outline. You could see them like through a sheer pair of stockings or fishnet. And low-slung pants, which were the style then, and in half hour, she'd have the pants off, and she'd be running around in thong panties with a chain around her waist, and then the top would come off, and then the panties would come off, and there would be only the chain, and you'd go to get something out of your coat that's in a bedroom on a bed, and she's screwing somebody on the bed. And then 45 minutes later, you go to the bathroom to take a pee, and she's in there doing somebody in the bathroom. And you might run into the same woman the third time. She's doing somebody in a closet. And then, you know, you're out there for 2 weeks taking your time, and you go to another party, and she's there doing the same thing. She was being a groupie, and the term that they used was sex, drugs, and rock and roll, or sex, drugs, and athletes, sex, drugs, and TV star, sex, drugs, and movie star. So they were getting what they wanted. It's just they may have had a remorse later. There was one woman that briefly got into movies. She worked as a bartendress at a place called Sports Page, and she was notorious for giving head jobs behind the bar. and going back to the kitchen area and screwing some important executive types. And she finally made the movie. She screwed her way in there. Everybody knew it.
Mm-hmm.
So you get these kind of things. It's been happening for years, and I don't think anybody made that woman. I didn't see anybody make that woman do it. She did it on her own. And when I was out there, I didn't participate in that stuff, so they try to set you up so they could get a handle on you. But I saw all of the homosexual stuff like that where they were doing it like the old-time casting couch, but it wasn't boy-girl. It was boy-boy or girl-girl.
Mm-hmm.
And very, very seldom you got a straight guy in there, but he acted at his peril. And some of these guys, some of the things they did were just plain stupid and wrong, but a lot of this is hyped. You know, there's no excuse for doing a woman wrong, but, you know, there's no excuse for just throwing out an accusation years after the fact of doing something that amounts to flirting, which at the time it was done, the law read it's no harm in asking once.
But if you're not getting that man training, there's a problem there.
But you see, it gets back to that whole equality thing.
Mm-hmm.
Legally, men and women are equal, but they're not the same. Vive la différence, the French say.
Right.
Women are not as strong as men. There's a thing called sexual dimorphism. Men are bigger, stronger on average than women.
Mm-hmm.
So they need to get the idea that the yin-yang balance is an important thing. You can't come at a man a certain way, because when you do that, your safety becomes dependent upon his goodwill.
Right.
You see, women did not force and acquire the right to vote. An all-male electorate gave it to them.
Mm.
Women cannot protect themselves from men except in small exceptions. Men are acculturated and socialized to indulge and support women. But these feminists want to forget that reality. And it's like, okay, you're going to put yourself in a situation where you do know that if you were a guy, and this was a normal guy, that you were doing this too, he would have busted you in your mouth. Well, you keep on pushing it that way, he may forget that you are a woman and listen to your feminist ranting and believe you're fully equal and bust you in your mouth. And remember, you like Wonder Woman, where she jacks up 5, 6 dudes before breakfast to work up an appetite.
Right.
You know, you could put them in the military and combat units. They're supposed to take a bullet like the guys are supposed to. So you get these young people that you have acculturated and conditioned to go for this. They come out, you know, you got a problem with domestic violence because the woman isn't a woman in their eyes. She's just like the guys, except she's got a nookie, but you treat her like you treat guys. You know, if guys get out of hand, they got to fight behind the roadhouse.
Mm.
But you can't do that with women. And some of these people need to get that in their heads. That's a reality of life.
Hey, you saying that? Go ahead, sorry.
There is a rule with this. Women and children are a resource. Men protect them, provide for them, and are expendable. What do they say when the ship's sinking? Women and children in the lifeboats first.
Mm.
So if you want that to happen, there are ways to ensure that that happens. If you don't care, so the guys could get in the lifeboat before the women and children, and you can see who can get in the lifeboat, who can throw somebody out of the lifeboat to take their seat, then you can play that too. But, you know, you don't really want that. It's 2:17 a.m. in the morning, and there's a nice 2-story townhouse you have, and you hear glass breaking, and somehow or another the alarm didn't go off because somebody cut the wires leading out of the house, and it's obvious somebody is inside that doesn't need to be there downstairs. wouldn't it be nice to have a strong man that knows how to take care of business laying next to you to go down and see about the problem? Or do you as a woman want to be the one that's got to deal with it? You see, that's the bottom line. The bottom line is yeah, women probably provided more food by gathering and, you know, preparing the food than the men did from hunting. But the thing of it is, you know, saber-toothed tigers, bear, wolves, lions, tigers have a taste for human flesh. So it was up to the hunters to make sure that those things didn't eat too many people. See, for most of human existence, mankind lived in a real-life horror movie, you know, like in the middle of the night, something horrible creeps in and snatches you. But it's a real-life 4-footed animal with large size, large teeth, large mouth, large amount of strength, and a large appetite for people. So who's going to go get them? It wasn't the women that went after them, it was the men, because they were stronger, for what it's worth.
Yeah, when you said that, I was just thinking about the fact this comedian named Joe Rogan, he was joking about the fact that he would not want a woman to guard him if he was president in the Secret Service. He made like a joke about it. People like, oh my God. Then like what he said made a lot of sense. You know,
I'm an old school guy. I'll look at it this way. I'll respect women. I have female lawyers, got female doctors, dentists. You know, they're cool. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to have a woman for a boss. No how, no way. I will not work for a woman. Somebody says, we'll give you $5 million starting off on this with a $20 million bonus. If you do this, we'll lose a boss. No, I'm sorry. I can't do that.
You're so outdated, Judge. You're behind the times, what people tell you. I mean,
no, I don't care. I'm a man. I'm a man. There have been occasions when I've had to stand and deliver and I didn't run. I'm satisfied with my personal bravery. There have been some physical moments.
Mm-hmm.